members of the panel, starting with the President of SM Investments, Mr. Harley C. We also have our Executive Vice President and CFO, Mr. Jose Shaw. We have our Executive Vice President, Mr. Ricky Dibuncio. First time you saw him read the President's report. And then, of course, we have our Senior Vice President for Finance, Mr. Franklin Gomez. We'd also like to acknowledge in the audience Mr. Nestor Tan, the President of BDO. Mr. Jeffrey Lim, our Executive Vice President at SM Prime. Mr. Robert Cui, President of SM Hypermarket. And we have Alex Escucha of China Bank, the Head of Investor Relations at China Bank. We'd also like to introduce to you, I don't know if you noticed, we have a new independent director, and she's a lady. Her name is Ms. Tami Lipana. Ms. Lipana was chairman and senior partner at Isla Lipana and Company. She was there from 1969 to 2009. But she served as chairman and senior partner from 2006 to 2005. And Isla Lipana, for those who are not aware, is also a member of PricewaterhouseCoopers. So welcome, Ms. Lipana. Okay, so I'd like to give now the floor to the audience. If you have questions, please feel free to ask.
Sir, for SM Investments, any fundraising for the year? And what amount are you looking at? And second, it was mentioned during the meeting that the retail will continue to expand its nationwide footprint. So I'd like to know how many stores is the retail business is going to add in 2016.
I think as far as the fundraising is concerned, it's a continuing thing for us. When I mention about the fundraising, I'm referring to either equity or debt or a semi-debt equity like a preferred stock. It's an ongoing exercise for an ongoing concern. As of now, our subsidiary, they have already announced that, especially the SM Prime, has announced that of their funding requirement for this year. In the case of SMIC, if you see the balance sheet, we are very liquid and we have a very strong balance sheet. As of now, there is no specific fundraising requirement for SMIC level, but it does not mean that we will not go out when the right opportunity comes along. The second question about the retail, about the footprint on the retail, the question is, do you have any information about the footprint of the expansion for this year? How many square meters of stores, things like that?
It's more of the number of stores rather than the footprint. We're looking at a total of 30 new food group stores. So that could either be Save More, mostly Save Mores, and then supermarket and hypermarket. As to the exact footprint in terms of square meters, I'm sorry, escapes yet the moment.
Thank you.
Just now you created, an additional 1.6 billion new shares with the capital increase. Just wondering, and obviously with the adjustments, that would be worth more than 700, 800 billion pesos. So when do you plan to actually issue these shares for capital raising, or is there any?
We've got a total of about 800 million shares outstanding. So the 50% stock dividend is an equivalent of another 400 million new shares, thereabouts. That is worth about 4 billion because the par value is about 10 pesos per share. It's going to be issued. The record date and the payment date will be determined only upon the approval of the SEC, because right after the stockholders' approval today, we will have to lodge the application with the SEC, and the moment they approve the stock dividend, then that's the only time we can set the record date and the payment date.
I'm more concerned about the remaining 1.6 billion after all the issuances, because you raised it to, what, 2.8 billion, right? 2.8 billion shares, par value of 10, so that's 28 billion.
Yes.
I'm looking at that one because after the adjustments, it will be worth about, that 1.6 will be worth about 700, 800 billion pesos. So what's the plan for those shares? Are you issuing new shares, rights issues, or selling it to other shareholders in the future?
I think why we increased the capital stock, authorized capital from 12 to 28, that's about 16 billion, is because there is an ECC rules that once you increase your authorized capital stock via stock dividend, 25% of the increase should be subscribed and fully paid. Our stock dividends value is about 4 billion. So we just say if 4 billion is 25%, then the 100% would be 16 billion. That's how the 16 billion come about. Having said that, it's good always that we have a buffer zone, buffer amount for a corporation like SM Investments, so that who knows, next year if there is an opportunity for us to raise fund which require additional capital, we are already ready. Our balance sheet is ready instead of again applying for an increase in capital stock. That's the only the rationale. No? So there is no specific plan as of now beyond the 4 billion that will increase the capital stock via the stock dividend.
May I ask for if you have any adjustments in your capital expenditure for the group? Because, as you said, you're a proxy for the the performance of the Philippine economy. So, I think Mr. Tan earlier said in the BDO briefing that some corporates are slowing down in their capital expenditures because of the elections. But is the SM Group in the same mood of maybe deferring some of the investments?
No, that is not our intention. I think the group has always been very consistently growing. I'd like to think that the next few years will still do the same.
And what would be the capital expenditure for the next, this year and the next 3 years? Since you mentioned
Jeffrey Lim, the big spender, is there. The SM Prime, you have announced how much? 60 billion for this year. So 60 billion the capital expenditure, the property group. The retail group is very cash rich. You know, every time you ring, the cash come in. So they don't need fundraising. You know, the bank is also very. They have their own way of fundraising, and not only because they need the fund, but because of this structure about the capitalization of a bank. I have said before that our group will be about 80 to 85 billion. Now, the next question I know you'll ask is, how do I fund this? Usually, ours is the approximately two-thirds of that will be internally funded by our cash flow. And then only 1/3 will be funded by outside financing.
So just to clarify, the remaining 25 or 20 or 25 billion, where will that go? Because 60 billion is going to Jeff's.
It will be SMIC for refinancing of the maturing loans, parent company level and also in the retail level, and I said the bank level spread out there.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, this is from Deutsche Regis, Ari. Just wanted to get a sense of how the first quarter is doing, because the retailers, this is more on retail, the retailers have been reporting very strong same-store sales growth so far. We just wanted to get a sense if this is the same also for SM Retail.
Can we reserve our response in a week's time because we will divulge our results on May the 3rd. So and,
Sure.
That's the time that we will share with you the information on retail.
Sorry, second question. Second
Sure.
is, are there still businesses under the, purely with the related parties that haven't been captured by SM Retail?
Yes, there are still some, but we've actually transferred substantial retail affiliate assets to we've actually incorporated into SMIC just recently. But there are still some, and there are, of course, some new concepts sometimes that are what we call, we're still trying to make things work, and if it works, incubate. And then, when it works and we see the potential, we'll see it in SMIC.
Thank you.
SM Retail, yes.
Thank you.
What is the SM Group's view? Because the 4 leading presidential candidates are no.
Seriously. Seriously.
Sorry, but I have to face it. They're saying that they would like to push for the end of practice of contractualization. So, what is SM Group's view on this one? And if indeed one of them becomes president and they push for a bill, will the group support it? And if that bill becomes a law, what will be the picture for SM Group?
Okay, for the record, when they talk about contractualization, SM does not do contractualization. We do hire for seasons, like second quarter for school opening, and also for Christmas. That is what we call, this is the volatility of our requirements for short term. And that is not like as if we do a 555 or a 6 months or something. We don't do that. In fact, we have a lot of regular employees in our company that is our plantilla. In fact, we need a lot of good people. Now, as if what we will do, whatever is the law, we will have to follow the law, and we will just have to find ways to survive.
Actually, you have the number of total employees of SM in the annual report and the ESG report. So they're regular and probationary. It's over 65,000 regular employees in the group.
One of the business groups that practices contractualization is overflow.
Yes, in fact, because we're easy to be used as a reference point because we happen to be one of the biggest employers in the Philippines. But as a practice, you will see our numbers. We know, and in fact, we're even known for when we acquire certain companies, we do not let go of people. I think you've seen that as a practice over and over again. We're very conscious of that. Again, a lot of people speculate, a lot of people say a lot of things, but what the fact is, we are one of the largest employers in the Philippines.
Yeah. Actually, there's a difference between seasonal and contractual employees. So we hire seasonal employees.
And eventually we'll even have to work on part-time for the convenience of some people. Some people who have a different lives, they might need a 4-hour work. That's also possible. So that, there's so many ways to adjust to the market, and we're very conscious about, we're very service-oriented. During Christmas time, we will need extra help. We can't just stay on and stick to our own plantilla. We see it as an opportunity more than a problem.
I'm Carlos Yu from Philippine Equity Partners. Just on Atlas Mining, given that the AT cut its production by about 33%, and with cost of with the cash cost probably higher than the cost of copper currently, what is SM Investments' plan with its stake in the Atlas Mining, or what would be its role in supporting the company?
Actually, first of all, the cash cost of Atlas is actually lower than the current price of copper. Copper is about $2.24 a pound, and our operating cost is actually lower than that. We do know that it's a commodities business, so it's very cyclical. So we are using this low point in the cycle to really clean up the operations and improve efficiency, so that when the cycle turns, we can have to take full advantage of the increasing copper prices.
How about with the maturing obligation in 2017? Is there any commitment from SMIC to infuse, I
Well,
guess, cash?
right now, that's one thing which the Atlas as a company is looking into, is in terms of we're looking now at how to refinance the maturing obligations. We've been speaking to banks about that, and so far I think we're quite comfortable that we'll be able to do something when they do come due in the next months and years, basically.
In the last few weeks, we've heard a lot of testimony in the Senate about casinos and its possible inclusion in the anti-money laundering. Since you are part owners of, what's your view about this, the inclusion of casino operations, and will it affect the City of Dreams?
Well, as you know, as far as the exposure of the group in the gaming sector, we're really not an operator of City of Dreams. Our operating partner there is actually Melco Crown, and they do operate in multiple jurisdictions, not just the Philippines. In other countries as well, it is part of the anti-money laundering issue. So as far as I know, they're actually quite supportive of the position of PAGCOR in terms of getting involved in the AMLA as well for gaming here in the Philippines.
You're pretty successful in China, but do you have any plans of expanding outside the malls? Right now, a lot of Chinese companies are monetizing their assets like hotels, industrial parks, and other real estate assets. And another one related to other non-SMIC but related companies. Well, what are your plans for the education arm in terms of expansion and other new innovations that you're gonna have? No, I'm not gonna ask about Chevron.
Well, as to the expansion in China, SM Prime actually still is very conservative. I think despite what is happening now, we've always been opening one mall every year. There's no intent to accelerate at this time. We will continue to be opportunistic in terms of expansion in China. We tried, I think we're launching one residential development in SM Chengdu, which is just beside the mall, but that will, I think, start selling by end of the year. So that's a pilot project for us to, see whether what we have here, where we have residential near the malls, if it will also work in China. So we'll have to wait and see for that first launch before we move on to the next project.
Okay, on the school, but this has nothing to do with SMIC. We are pursuing further to expand. I think came on the papers today or yesterday about NU, National University, going into what you call a sports camp or a sports facility school. I think that's one of the major directions of the family, wherein we are supporting and we believe in education. Now, further going to specific needs, which is the sports. That's being headed by Mr. Hansi, which is very much on top of this. He's very much committed to it now. We are, of course, we do have investments in the other smaller schools like Asia Pacific. And all of these schools going forward, if there are opportunities to expand, we will expand. Oh, but most of these schools, if not all, they're actually social business. We do not get into it for the bottom line. Whatever we make is there to put back so that we can provide more services.
So help us promote Conrad Hotel. I'm sure you see how beautiful this hotel is, and we're very proud of this flagship hotel of SM Hotels and SM Prime. So thank you, and please continue enjoying merienda.